All right, good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to another edition of PT on Ice Daily Show. My name is Jason London. I'm core faculty with the Institute for Clinical Excellence and teach both rehabilitation of the injured runner and rehabilitation of the injured cyclist or bike fitting. And today I decided to get out of the basement and into the clinic so I can demonstrate a few things. And still in the summer months here, so seeing a lot of injured runners as well as injured cyclists, and haven't had a cycling topic for a while, so thought we'd dive into that. So those of you who aren't doing bike fitting with your patients, it's a great service to add because you basically can make some changes to their position on the bike or their posture on the bike, mechanics on the bike, and instantly get some results with pain relief, as well as maybe some increased performance too. And low back pain is probably one of the number one complaints we see with injured cyclists, and dealing with that is typically pretty easy to change. So in a past podcast, I talked about changing the saddle tilt angle. If you want to learn more about that, just look back about 6 months or a year when I spoke about that, or you can also go to our clinic webpage, excelptmt.com, and go to the blog, and there's a blog on that as well. And so what we're going to talk more about today with dealing with cyclists with low back pain is the bar position, particularly the bar height. So across many individuals with low back pain, we see they have weaknesses in the spinal extensors, and cyclists are no different than that. There's a lot of papers out there showing that cyclists with low back pain and triathletes with low back pain have decreased spinal extensor endurance, as well as studies showing that as you get spinal extensor fatigue with cycling, you get a change in one's body mechanics as well. And so what we want to do initially on the bike with fitting that is, if someone doesn't quite have that core stability and spinal extensor endurance, change their position on the bike to accommodate that, to decrease the strain on the lower back. And one way we can do this is by looking at bar height. And so there's multiple ways to do this, but the method that I want to talk about today is a method that an Australian bike fitter by the name of Steve Hogue uses, and that's with the patient on the bike. You've already adjusted their cleat position, so it's properly adjusted in the fore and aft position, as well as with their stance width, and seeing if you needed to add any shimming or not. And then you've adjusted their saddle height to the proper height as well, and that fore and aft, again, looking at the knee thing. And if you want to learn more about that, I do teach that rehabilitation of the injured cyclist course. It's a 2-day course, and now we're just teaching it once a year due to some logistics with the equipment and scheduling that way. So the only time we'll be teaching that this year will be in Minneapolis, October 12th. So you're welcome to join us there. But anyways, you've already kind of set all of those other parameters up, which is really important because that's really that saddle position is that base position that we want to base everything else off of in terms of the bar reach and the bar height. And so now with the cyclist on the bike, you're going to have them in the drops, assuming that this is a road bike, and then pedaling at a fairly high resistance, so a harder gear, and still being able to maintain a pretty good cadence of in the 70s to 90s as far as revolutions per minute. And then after they've done a few seconds of that, you're going to have them take their hands off of the bar and see if they can maintain that spinal position. If they can't, that's a good indicator to you that they don't quite have that trunk strength to maintain that position, or the position of the bars are too low, or perhaps that saddle position in the fore and aft position isn't quite right. So the first thing to do is, after looking at that, is you'll probably want to try to adjust the saddle a little bit forward, a little bit aft, and see if that helps, especially if they have close to a 90-degree angle at the shoulder while they're on the brake hood, so a different position on the bars. And if that's not the case, then you want to try to bring the bars up, either by using an adjustable stem to really get that angle down, or if they have some spacers available, bringing the stem up that way too. So I'm very happy that great PT, Matt Schumacher, is here to assist with the AV, since it's be a little hard to record myself on the bike. So we are going to hand off to him. The volume might be a little bit off just because I don't think my earbud is going to reach. I'm also not able to flip this around. So I will just hand that to you like that. So if you could just get a straight side view there, Matt.
Side view?
Yep. So here I am on the bike. I'm going to get into a more difficult position. My foot position has already been set. Seat position has already been set, and now I'm in the drops, so the lowest position on the bars. And I'm pedaling it up with a harder gear, maintaining a good cadence, and then I'm going to let go of the bars and see if I can maintain that trunk position. And that's what you're going to have your patient do as well. And see if I can maintain that trunk position, or if I have to slide forward on the seat to do that, or back on the seat, or I just tend to dip. Thanks, Matt. Yep. And so, regardless of what you see, what you end up seeing the patient doing, if they're having to slide either forward or back on the seat, then that is a good indicator that you need to adjust the fore and aft position of the saddle. Or if they're not sliding forward or back, but you're just seeing them drop, that's a good indication that you need to raise the bars up. So once again, there's multiple ways to deal with low back pain on the bike, but one thing that we can do is address the bar height, and just demonstrated a way to get some cues on what you need to do for that. Then obviously what we also want to do is address the person too, with then some good strengthening. So if we need to start with just some Swiss ball extensions, starting with that, and some hip hinges, but ultimately progressing to deadlifts, RDLs, or if it's more of a mountain biker, some bent over rows, and really strengthening up that athlete. And then that will allow them to get into a more aggressive aerodynamic position on their bike. That's all I got for you guys. Feel free to email or text any questions you have. Have a very happy Friday and a great weekend.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.